Hey everyone, thank you so much for your patience for while we're dealing with some minor technical issues. Um, I'm Dana Piccoli, and I am the managing director of News is Out. And we are so glad that you are here with us. We want to thank you for being here. I'm honored to be the host for today's event. If this is your first introduction to News is Out, welcome. We're a collaborative of 7 of the nation's leading queer media publishers: Bay Area Reporter, Dallas Voice, Los Angeles Blade, Philadelphia Gay News, Tag Magazine, Washington Blade, and Windy City Times. Thank you so much for joining this event. We're right in the middle of Pride season, and we are delighted to welcome some incredible guests who are experts in LGBTQ plus travel. Um, First, we have our guests, Michael Lindsay and Matthew Schuler, who are going to bring up here, better known to fans as Michael and Matt. Hello. Hi. I'm just going to
Hello.
get rid of the background here. It's just us now.
Magic. Love that.
So I want to welcome the two of you so much. Matthew, I see you only put your name in there. We've got to have Michael too.
Oh, it said first name and last name. I didn't
Okay.
know what to do. I got
Dr. Michael Lindsay.
No worries.
Well, let me give our audience a little information on you. So, Michael and Matthew are digital content creators, travel photographers, and videographers based in Portland, Oregon, just down the road from me. Known for sharing their global adventures on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok to over 800,000 followers. They combine their passion for storytelling with a love of exploration. And when they're not traveling, Michael works as a dentist while Matthew handles editing and writing and photography for their blog and all of their social channels. So again, welcome to the two of you so much for being here. I know you're very busy. You're traveling all the time. We couldn't even dream of getting you during Pride Month.
Oh my gosh. No, we love being home during the summer in Portland because Portland summers are beautiful.
They're so beautiful. We forget about the 6 months of rain prior.
Yeah, that's
immediately.
When I like to travel.
which is our call out to all of you to come visit Portland, right?
During the summer, that's right. Yeah, seriously, it's beautiful.
So the two of you have built a loyal audience around your travel adventures. What inspired you to start documenting your journeys as a couple?
I mean, you were already documenting your life, and then I feel like I sort of just jumped into it, and he just continued documenting, and I just became part of it. And then we both kind of had a passion for travel. I did a lot of like road tripping when I was younger, and I just absolutely loved that part of travel. And he had kind of not done too much and then got the bug and then just never stopped. So I think I think we both got to go to Europe for the first time when we were in high school. And I think it kind of completely changed our minds, not our minds, but kind of like really set us on the road for wanting to just explore more of the world.
No, totally. Good. Yeah.
And you're both from smaller-ish towns, right?
I'm from a tiny town.
Tiny.
Yeah. My town's huge compared to his town.
Yeah.
I'm from like a town of 6,000. I'm from a town of like, I was 45,000 when I was growing up. So not too small, but it's pretty relatively small.
Mm-hmm. So traveling really opened up your worlds.
Oh yeah, definitely. Got us out of our bubbles, was feeling very much like claustrophobic in this pretty conservative bubble in Oregon, and just didn't really have a lot of other experiences outside of kind of like evangelical Christian, I don't know, rural USA. And it was like a little bit depressing. And I'm like, this is, I don't know about this environment. This isn't good for me. And then finally, like getting out my first time right after high school just completely blew my mind as far as like, oh, there are other places in the world that do things differently. And not in like a theoretical sense, but in like a physical sense of being there and seeing it happen for yourself.
Well, how do you two determine if a destination is LGBTQ plus friendly before you go? Because I know you're very thoughtful about where and how you travel.
Yeah. Determining if a destination is LGBT friendly before we go. do a lot of research online. I try to talk to people if I know others who have been to the location. So, I mean, being in like the travel content creation space, it's where we're lucky in that we know quite a few people who do extensive traveling. So that's a big help to me. Like when I'm like, hey, what do you know about this place? What do you think? What are the great gay bars to go to, et cetera, et cetera. But definitely like online research is a big one for sure.
We also go to like conferences where we get to meet people from different destinations from all over the world, and they represent different tourism bureaus. And so we get some like one-on-one time with people who live in different places of the world to kind of like give us like firsthand experience too.
Yeah.
Have you ever had to change your plans or what you were doing due to safety concerns as an LGBT couple?
Not that I can think
due
of.
to safety concerns specifically, not really. No. I think the closest we came to that was just Qatar.
Is that when you dropped the suitcase down the
Yeah.
Oh my God, what a good memory. Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
Happened accidentally.
So it was a layover in Qatar, right?
It was a layover. We weren't supposed to have a layover. It was just supposed to be a quick connection. Because that was our flight plan. It was the cheapest flights by far that we could get. And it was a really nice route to get back home, and did not expect to miss our flight due to a delay. And it just so happened that we were delayed coming out of Cape Town. And so trying to connect in Qatar,
Doha, yeah.
We ended up
missing the flight, and then having to stay overnight,
getting rebooked for the next day, which is nice that they put you in a hotel. The airline does if you're like delayed in that way, and they put you in like a nice hotel, and they try to give you a good experience.
Yeah.
So
just a part of the world that we had never really been to before. Well,
right. You weren't
we haven't
100% prepared to be there for that day.
We were not 100% prepared.
Yeah, we weren't 100% prepared. It was also like, it was a long flight to get there from Cape Town. You know, it was like a 9.5 hour flight. And so then you're getting off the flight, you're tired, you're trying to run to the next one thinking you're late. And then you're like, okay, now we're staying here overnight. And there's like not many people in the airport, and it's kind of a weird vibe. And like, it's just very not what I was expecting. I like didn't know really how to read the situation. I never felt like in physical danger, but I also was aware of kind of the governmental sort of like stance, right? On
right,
like
sure.
persons.
Started Googling like, is it okay to be gay in Qatar?
Right.
You know, and some stories
from the World Cup, we knew that could potentially,
yeah. And there were some stories that definitely came up top of the line on Google, and that was a little unsettling to read those. And we're like, oh my God, are we okay? Are we going to be in trouble? Is this safe to even be here right now? Everything was totally fine, and we felt welcomed, and like, it was good. It was a good experience as far as being there.
It was an okay experience.
It was an okay
Nothing
experience.
bad happened. I would not say it was a good experience. Like, I don't know that I necessarily want to do it again, but nothing bad happened. Yeah.
Had we been more prepared, I think it would have been a better experience. And
of course,
mentally done some work and research and figured out.
It's not on our top 10, I don't think.
No.
Well, I'm sure one of your top 10, though, is Australia, which I had the pleasure of visiting with you 2 years ago for World Pride. And so much of your content really showcases joy but also education of where you are. How do you see your roles as creators in shaping how LGBTQ plus people are seen in the travel world?
That's a good question. I think
that is a good question.
Well, I think a lot of advertising that goes into LGBTQ travel is just like shirtless men on a cruise line somewhere, or like on a beach. I think we try to like dive more into like cities or neighborhoods, or highlight like different things that aren't just like hanging out on a beach and like, you know, what's the party scene like, et cetera, et cetera. I feel like we are a little bit more interested in how it would feel to like live in the city, more so than just like trying to find the things that are going to like just give us the biggest entertainment value, you know, for our buck.
Right.
So,
you dig into the cultural aspect of wherever you're visiting.
I think that's the most interesting thing about travel. You can go anywhere and find a beach and lay on it and, drink a pina colada if you want to.
But experiencing a different way to live somewhere else.
Yeah, or just like
a way to change your perspective.
Very much diving into the food scene everywhere is something that I think that's a really good jumping off point too, that we really enjoy. So, and that's, I think, what a lot of he's enjoying with kind of like the new group travel space that we're like kind of diving into. And I think people are kind of seeking something like that out, versus like a party scene.
I want to get to that. I definitely do. Because I look to you two for travel inspiration, and I know thousands and thousands of people do. I want to know what advice you would give to LGBTQ travelers that are looking to explore new destinations, especially maybe those off the beaten path that we don't have a ton of information about.
Yeah. I feel like I'm learning a lot about this lately, doing the group travel and hearing from people face to face about kind of like the barriers that exist for LGBTQ people in traveling, or just for people in general getting out of, especially the US, getting out of the US for the first time. Because admittedly, it's scary to hop on a plane and fly internationally for the first time and go to a place where you don't know anyone and you step out and you are on your own. That can be scary. So research for one is like, that will prepare you so much going forward. Online, reading about the destination, marking places that look interesting to you, that you like on your Google Maps app or Apple Maps, whatever app you use with a map, pin those places. Especially, the hotel that you're staying at. I can't tell you how many times I've landed in another country and haven't had internet service, but because I had that section of the map loaded already and I had my hotel pinned, I can go in, find the address, and then on the custom sheet, I can fill it in without any internet service and everything's okay. But,
that's very great practical advice, Matt. That's really good, because I have landed in countries where I don't speak the language and they don't have internet, and I've been like, oops.
Right? And you're like, I don't know where I'm staying. And anyway, so there's that. And then also, I mean, yes, I will plug, group travel is fantastic. It's freaking fantastic. If you are a solo traveler or just someone who wants to go somewhere but doesn't have anyone who wants to do the same destination as you, there's great LGBTQ plus travel, and you can go and be with a licensed professional guide. You can have a great community environment, and you don't have to plan all of the different things. You can just go, enjoy, and get a great introduction to a country, and meet a whole bunch of new friends. So it's a nice setup, and it's a good, easy entry, especially for first-time travelers.
Okay, so let's talk about your group travel, because you have been doing some incredible trips, like small groups. What the biggest one was probably about, what, 20 folks?
26.
So talk to me about your group travel, and you kind of branching off and doing your own thing now, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we do work with Trova Trip a lot. They're a company based in Portland, and they do a lot of like pre-arranged travel. They work with tour operators around the world that have set itineraries. And then I host. I kind of take care of the community management. I make sure people are vibing well. We do group chats from the very beginning on WhatsApp so that everyone can get the chance to know each other before day one on the trip. I host Zoom calls so that we can hang out about once a month. The group can come together. It's all optional, but it's like a way. What I'm trying to figure out is how to get people more involved in an LGBTQ travel community and more connected, so that specifically for solo travelers, when you arrive to the destination, you don't feel alone. You know all these people already, and there's kind of that inner connection. So I think that's great, and it helps people bond a lot more on the trip if they're already knowing each other a little bit beforehand.
That makes perfect sense.
So there's that. And then, yes, we are branching off a little bit and working with tour operators independently. What I am loving is just having the ability to customize and create itineraries that are very LGBTQ plus specific, and get like the right hotel and get just every small detail kind of like integrated into the itinerary. So it's been fun, because working in the marketing space for so long with LGBTQ travel, you get to know the tour partners, and these are like friends of ours. And I'm like, oh my God, I can like work with you now and put an itinerary together. Like, how fun is this? It's great.
What I know that these tours have been selling out. What do you have open next for group tours?
Oh, yes. We have 2 spots remaining for Peru in September.
Ooh.
So that's coming up. And then we have like 10 spots available for Colombia. So that's
Fantastic.
in January. Very excited. We just launched Greece for May of 2026, but that sold out within the week. And
Days
then,
love Greece.
Yeah, we're launching Thailand for 2026. And that'll be February 2026, and the spots release on Friday.
Friday. Okay, so if folks want to join you on this, what should they do?
Go to sidequeststravel.com and everything will be there. We have all of the trips listed right there.
And if for some reason they forget that, they can go to Michael and Matt, right? And click on your links in bio. Okay, great.
Exactly. Yep. We just chose a name. We just got our branding. We just launched the website. Things are happening fast. It's great. I'm happy.
Very excited. And I would trust you two on any vacation, any trip.
Let's go.
We're going. Finally, I want to ask one last question. What has been a destination or a couple destinations for you that you have felt really affirmed as a queer traveler?
I think one of them was Greece. I think we felt, and I don't know if obviously we were walking around with a group of like 22 gay men. Like it was pretty obvious. We were on Crete, and I've never been somewhere where like local business owners were like so happy to see
genuinely
tourists.
happy.
And so that could go for anybody, right? But I just felt like no judgment whatsoever. We would go into this restaurant as a group, and in America, I think we view groups coming into big restaurants like, okay, this is going to take a lot of work.
Right, that's going to be a lot of avocado toast.
Yeah. Like, come on in. They're bringing like bottles of Rocky for free, which is like a liquor, like however you want to. What's a grappa?
It's like grappa.
Okay, yes.
Yeah, and then like you eat your meal, they're giving you more Rocky, they're making sure everybody's having a good time.
Just free alcohol and free desserts.
They're throwing out free desserts everywhere.
Where else can you go in the world, sit down at a restaurant, and they will bring you free alcohol and free desserts, and just like with a big smile and be like, "Thank you so much for being here." And I'm like, oh my God, thank you.
I know. So I think that was where I just was like, wow, I feel really welcomed here as like a tourist.
Yeah. I love it. Thank you so much for being here. A total pleasure. Everybody, you want to check out Michael and Matt at Michael and Matt, and that's the same everywhere, I believe. We got TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, all the good stuff. So thank you to the two of you. I hope to see you around when you're not, gallivanting the globe.
Yes.
I owe you a dinner.
Oh my God. Stop. We owe you dinner.
Yeah, I think
one of these times.
At this point.
All right. I'm going to send you backstage. I'll see you soon.
See ya. Bye.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much to those guys. Wonderful time at World Pride with Michael and Matthew. So before we bring on our next guest, who I'm very excited to have because I had the pleasure of going to Brazil with Lindsay Cale, we just wanted to talk really briefly about something that we are doing that's really important to us at News is Out. And it is called the Our Stars, Our Voices LGBTQ plus community survey. So we are asking the community about themselves, from health and wellness to media habits, travel, financial goals. Your insights will help guide the stories that we tell, the partners that we work with, and the resources that we highlight. So this is your space and your voice matters. The survey only takes about 10 minutes, so please consider sharing your thoughts with us. The link should be the first comment in the live. So check it out. And if you don't find it there, you can find it through us on our social media platforms at News is Out. All right, Michelle, I think we're good to bring on our next guest. All right, Lindsay, I'm going to bring you on. Just give me one sec to add you to scene. Hey, good to see you.
Amazing. Hello, how are you?
I'm so good. So much has happened since I last saw you, and I'm so excited about what you're doing with EveryQueer. But I want to give our audience a little bio of you. So this is Lindsay Cale, the digital content director at EveryQueer, a Brooklyn-based strategist, writer, photographer, amazing photographer, with 10 plus years in LGBTQ plus travel, visited all 7 continents, and specializes in storytelling, safety, and community-focused digital campaigns. Her work's been featured by the BBC, The Guardian, Condé Nast Traveler, and you've led campaigns for Hilton, Visit Sweden, TripAdvisor, more. I mean, you've done so much. Welcome, Linz. We so appreciate you being here.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here.
Well, before we really dive in, I want you to tell us about EveryQueer and what it is that you all do there. You've got an amazing team.
Yeah, EveryQueer is it's an incredible place to work, an incredible place to be. It is a digital content for queer women, trans, non-binary community. We have a specialization in travel, lean a lot towards travel safety, but also tons of content that's just plain fun, queer joy, pop culture, all of that stuff. And about 2 years ago, we added group trips into the mix. And we've been hosting about 4 to 5 of those per year. And it's just been an incredible new way to connect with the community. It's been like such a gift to be in and amongst community like that.
I'm loving seeing these group trips. These kind of smaller, more intimate, but like super queer and affirming trips would make me, especially if I was a younger traveler, make me so much more comfortable traveling outside of my comfort zone, you know?
For sure.
Well, so you visited all 7 continents. Was there a single moment or a place that felt like especially transformative to you as a queer traveler?
I would say I had a bit of an interesting journey in travel. I did not grow up traveling at all. I had barely been on a plane by the time I was 25. My partner at the time moved to South Korea. And I jumped at the opportunity to go and visit. So I went from only visiting a resort in Mexico to living in South Korea for 3 months. I really jumped in the whole way.
Sure did. Yeah.
And so that as a traveler for me, that was my first taste of a culture that was so different from what I grew up in Pennsylvania. But as a queer traveler, I would say that destination for me was Egypt. It was my first anti-LGBT destination. They had just arrested people for flying the pride flag within the week that we were headed there. So for me, going and experiencing a destination that maybe I thought wasn't possible for someone that looks like me, I think going and having the experience, having that reminder that the people are not their government, was such an important part in my queer travel career. And it's one of the pieces of content still to this day, almost 9 years later, that I'm still receiving questions for people like, Egypt is my bucket list trip. It's something that I saw as a little kid and I've been dying to go. How can I do this safely? And so I think that one for me, as someone who works in queer travel, that was just such an impactful trip for the reminder that my voice in the space matters, and that, being visible is just, a huge piece of that, going out and doing it and giving people the confidence that they can do the same.
I love how much EveryQueer and you are concerned with safety, because we know that that is a massive concern for LGBTQ plus travelers. What strategies do you recommend for navigating, like, say, a less than LGBTQ plus inclusive destination?
Yeah, certainly. That's kind of been EveryQueer's, I don't want to call it a niche, but it's kind of where we've fallen into with content. It's something we believe deeply in, that queer people deserve to see all the destinations that they want to see. It's just like into the core of who we are. And finding those ways to make that happen has become so important to us. The biggest one for us has been the group trips. Traveling in a group, it becomes safer, safer in numbers, safer in, we get to vet the providers, we get to vet the hotels, like that alone makes it much safer. And I tell people that, if safety is your top concern, definitely group travel is a great place to start. But outside of that, doing your homework and understanding where you're going, understanding the culture and the ways PDA or maybe the way that you are dressed is going to impact that. But so much of it is information gathering outside of mainstream media, because the mainstream media can sometimes get you so nervous and so scared about what you're doing without really having talked to a queer person that's maybe in the destination or lives in the destination, or someone who's really had their feet on the ground there.
And you're also getting to probably connect with communities there that don't have the opportunity to maybe experience the sort of queer joy that you're bringing with you for
100%. It's been one of the most meaningful parts of it is, connecting with small queer bar in, Thailand or any other destination that we're going to. And you're just bringing in this like big group of people that just want to understand what queer community looks like in a different place, and also just share. I mean, queer joy is the best. Like there's nothing that beats it.
Well, okay, so you say queer joy. I love the phrase. How do you approach photographing queer joy and representation in travel spaces?
Yeah, it's definitely been something that's growing for us. It's something that's so important. LGBT identity is so intersectional, and queer people look different, behave different, act differently, no matter where you are. And I think going in and capturing people having those moments of joy in the destination that's authentic to them. We just recently did a trip to Buenos Aires for Pride. And it was so incredible to not only bring a group of our guests that were from Canada and the United States, to capture their joy, but also capture the joy of people from Buenos Aires, like seeing how their pride parades are so different than ours. That was just an incredible opportunity.
I was just thinking about when we were in Sao Paulo and getting to go to like queer establishments and queer places where we get to see the queer joy there in their hometowns was such a thrilling. That's one of my favorite memories of being there.
I agree.
Have you seen, and I know we're in a difficult time right now, like we're not going to get away from that. We're in a difficult time.
Certainly.
But have you seen a shift in how brands or tourism boards are approaching queer inclusion in, like, say, the past decade, which you've been working in the industry?
I would definitely say that there has been ebbs and flows over the last 10 years. A lot of ups and downs, if we're being honest. I think, like you said, there's no getting around the fact that right now is a bit of a down. It's a really tough time. We work with tourism boards very closely, and I think it's an important reminder that they are government funded. Most of them are government funded. And so you meet with people in a destination somewhere that's, incredibly inclusive, and they want to work with you. They desperately want to work with you. They want to share the message. They're really proud of the community they have there, and they want us to introduce it. But they're in a really tough position right now, in between wanting to boost queer voices, but also, keep their jobs and keep their funding that helps them put food on the table for their families. And so as much as right now is a really tough place, I remain deeply optimistic that the movement is growing forward, and we're going to pass through this and we're going to work through this. But yeah, there's definitely been some ebbs and flows as we go.
I appreciate your optimism on this, and I'd like to see that way forward as well. And I think that having what you're doing over at EveryQueer, you and Meg and the team, showing people that like queer travelers want to be in these places, and we're going to show up and we're going to support. Maybe hopefully that can help buoy another ebb.
Yeah, and I think we've kind of found that showing the ways that queer women's communities are not in traditional gay male spaces, like showing up and being at a place like women's sporting events, like women's sports that is queer culture. Like it is a deeply queer culture event. And so we realized that working with, tourism boards and brands in some ways that they wouldn't necessarily think of as LGBT storytelling or LGBT campaigns, because it's so ingrained to do it in a way that is through the gay male lens.
Yes.
And queer women just show up differently. And I think it's some coaching to people to understand our community. and then some showing, hey, like when you get it right, this is what it looks like.
Right. Well, you're going to have to bring a group to Portland in 26 when we get our WNBA team, because now we have women's soccer and WNBA.
I know, it's incredible.
So EveryQueer has a clear mission. How do you curate content that stays authentic and community-centered?
I think we're in a very unique position that Meg, our founder, is deeply positioned in the community. She is all things queer culture, all things queer history.
Does. You call her up, she knows everything.
She is just such an incredible resource for all things, queer community. But we have very different interests. We are, both queer, both involved in the community, but in very different segments. So that alone helps us span a pretty wide net. But it's also incredibly important for us to find queer stories and uplift other voices for parts of the community that are not ours to tell the story. And I think finding those voices and finding those stories and giving people the space to tell their story has been so important to us.
Are there any emerging queer travel trends that we should be paying attention to this year and beyond?
My gut would say experiential travel has been growing for years, and I think that is going to continue to grow. But I think more so, people are incredibly invested in where they're spending their money, maybe more so than ever. And I think that extends into travel in a really massive way because it's a huge purchase. And so people are looking to be really intentional about the brands that they are giving their money to, the brands that they're supporting, the destinations that they're visiting. And I think that I've seen a huge uptick in people asking those questions and people doing the research about the brands that they're aligning with and making sure it matches their values, more so than I've ever seen before.
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing that in the general public as well. We're paying attention to that. So that makes a lot of sense that it would carry over into travel.
Yeah.
What's next for you in EveryQueer? And are there any dream destinations or projects on the horizon?
Yeah, actually, that's a fun question because we have a Pride trip to Stockholm coming up. So that is incredibly exciting. I would say that I heard the end of the call when you were talking to Michael and Matthew asking the question about destinations that just felt really affirming for queer travelers. And I would say I've never been in a place that felt, just as safe as Sweden does, and Stockholm in particular is just so incredibly special and so welcoming. So it's cool to be able to take a group back for Stockholm Pride. And additionally, we are going to Everest Base Camp in Nepal. We're taking a group of 8 with us. That has been the top of my personal travel bucket list for a really long time. And I can't believe I'm getting the opportunity to do it in a group of community and call that, my job. So.
Oh my gosh, wow. Okay, so how do the folks who are listening to this and watching this, how do they connect with EveryQueer and check out what you have available for group travel?
Yeah, everyqueer.com, EveryQueer on Instagram, TikTok are all of your best resources. We have, tabs with pretty good descriptions on what we can expect from the trips, but both Meg and I are always open to answering any questions and just, slide in the DMs with any questions that you have coming up about the chat, about the group tours.
And you'll want to follow Linz on social as well, because Linz is an amazing photographer and you don't want to miss their travels. And definitely do it. It's at Lindsay Cale, right?
Yes, it is.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Lindsay. I really appreciate you being here and sharing all your adventures with us. Definitely going to be looking into trips with you and Michael and Matt.
I love that.
So we wish you the best. We'll be looking for your summitings on mountains in the near future.
Thank you so much for having me.
You are so welcome. And I'm
have a good.
Yes, thank you. I'll send you backstage.
Yeah. All right.
All right. Thank you so much to Michael, to Matthew, to Linz, and to all of you who tuned in for this, whether you're watching it live or you're going to check it out later on. But something we wanted to bring up is if you are enjoying these virtual events, we've had one on Project 2025, we had one on mental health in the LGBTQ plus community. Please share with your friends. And if you appreciate what News Is Out provides between our events, our content, our newsletters, please consider supporting News Is Out with a reoccurring or even just a one-time financial donation or support. We rely on grants, advertising, and community members just like you to keep us going. So I'm going to leave this here, and I want to thank you all for joining us so much, and safe travels. And please let us know if you're going somewhere fun or you want to know us to know about a group travel experience that you're a part of at newsisout@localmedia.org.